How's it going, everybody? I'm Andrew Robson, and you are watching RAKUYO-en's Deciduous Bonsai channel. On today's episode, I am going to teach you wound reactivation and why this is an essential trick to help you heal big wounds on your deciduous bonsai. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. All right, so the two things we're going to talk about today are wound reactivation, and I'm going to share a little bit of the progress of this trident maple bonsai here. So let's start with the trident. This is a tree that came into my possession in 2019, and it was a tree that I was not really happy with. It was this really short, stubby thing. It had all these branches that were really close to the trunk in like this weird triangle style, and it just had no kind of character or feeling of what a trident maple tree and branch structure kind of are actually like. And so what I did was I cut off all of the branches pretty much right to the trunk, and I restarted the work on this tree. I basically cut it back to a big volcano. And from that point in 2019, I feel like we were able to rebuild a silhouette that has much more natural beauty. Again, the really short, stubby kind of trident look is something that's kind of devoid of the natural branch feeling for me. And so I really like to have a trident like this, which has that feeling, that character that a trident maple branch naturally gets kind of built into the silhouette. So I've been really happy with how this one is progressing. In another 4 or 5 years, it should be ready for a show like the Pacific Bonsai Expo. So I'm really looking forward to continuing advancing this tree. In my last intensive summer program, I had a few students from all over the country here helping me on this trident, and it was fun to kind of show them the progression of this tree, how far it's advanced since 2019 to where it is now here in 2024. So we had a great time working on this tree. We recently just defoliated it fully down to the silhouette. We cut out a bunch of multiplicity problems where we had more than 2 branches growing out of one spot. And now it's really showing the sustainable ramification, the good stuff that's left behind that we can continue to build off of to make this a world-class trident maple bonsai. So I'm really excited about how this tree is coming. Now, part of the work after we did all of the defoliation and the branch cutback was to heal some big wounds that this tree has. This tree had a lot of wounds from that intense cutback that I did a few years ago. And so it needed some wound reactivation. Now, the big tip of this video is that oftentimes on your bonsai, a wound or a callus will heal about 20–30%, and it will just stop. And it will remain kind of in that stopped phase for what seems like forever. And the way to really jumpstart that callus to get it growing again and fully heal over is to reactivate it. And the 2 tools that I use for this are a dental pick, which my friend Jonas at Bonsai Tonight sells on his web store. If you click the link in the description of this video, it will take you to Bonsai Tonight, and there you can get a dental pick if you don't have one already, because it's a really good tool to get in there and reagitate that callus. And then over the top of it, I use kirikuchi, which is one of my most favorite cut pastes. It's this olive green liquid cut paste. And this has a lot of gibberellic acid in it. And so I use this on pretty much everything nowadays. I used to use a few different products. This is kind of my go-to now. And depending on how much you put on, it can determine how quickly and how big of a callus you get. On something vigorous like a trident maple, I just put on a little tiny bit and paint it on with a brush. With something not so vigorous, I kind of just goop it on and heal it over. So let's talk about how to reactivate a wound on a trident. First, we look at our wound that's partly calloused over. We take our dental pick and we just start rubbing it around on the inside of that callus. Now, the reason that we use a pick instead of something like a knife is because a pick will create more of a sliver versus a knife tends to create a big chunk of scar tissue. And the only thing that we need when we're doing this is just a little sliver of green all the way around. You don't need a whole huge chunk of green. Just the smallest little sliver will do, and that's why I really recommend using a dental pick like the one that Jonas at Bonsai Tonight has for sale on his web store. It's really an essential tool for a bonsai toolbox for a variety of reasons, especially for this callus reactivation. And then once we have that callus, once we have a nice little ring of green exposed all the way where that callus stopped, I will take my cut paste, in this case it's the Kirikuchi, and I will paint this on with a paintbrush because again on a trident maple, if you put too much on it can create a big callus. So I like to put on just enough to cover it completely, but give it a good thorough covering. Now one of the dumbest things I see people do is only put a ring of cut paste around. If you do that, you tend to create these stalled calluses even more so. And so if you want that callus to have the best chance of fully closing, and you want to protect pathogens and bad things from getting into your tree, make sure that you paint the entire wound rather than just the perimeter of it. So again, we take this Kirikuchi, which is again one of my favorite cut pastes. I heal everything with this cut paste from maples to beeches to quinces and ginkgos even. A lot of people say ginkgos don't heal. With Kirikuchi, you can heal multiple inch wounds with this cut paste. So that's how you reactivate a wound and kind of re-stimulate it to jumpstart that callus development. I hope you enjoyed this episode where we talked about one of my favorite tridents here in the garden and gave you this great tip on how to reactivate your big cuts that have stalled. If you enjoyed this video, consider hitting like at the bottom of your screen and subscribe to our channel so that we can help push all of this great deciduous bonsai knowledge in through the algorithm and into the web pages of deciduous bonsai enthusiasts around the country. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Andrew Robson. You've been watching RAKUYO-en's Deciduous Bonsai channel. I hope you can take this tip on reagitating wounds and apply it to your bonsai in your collections. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.